Gurubhyo Namaha students, again back to the lab. So today we are going to see qualitative salt analysis. What is qualitative salt analysis? The quality of the salt is going to be tested. If I ask you a few examples of salts, you will come out with potassium iodide, sodium chloride, calcium nitrate, copper sulfate, nickel nitrate, etc. So how do we know if an unknown salt is given to you and we ask you to identify what is the cationic radical and what is the anionic radical present in it? There are a lot of tests and procedure for us to identify the presence of cation and anion in a particular salt. For this year we will be going to talk about simple salts. A simple salt contains one cationic radical and one anionic radical. For example, if we take potassium iodide, potassium is your cationic radical, iodide is your anionic radical. Copper nitrate, copper is your cationic radical, nitrate is your anionic radical. What does that mean? We have a list of tests for anionic radical and we have a test for cationic radical. We can't mingle. So anionic tests have a separate procedure, cationic tests have a separate procedure. So today we are going to see few anions. How are we going to identify the anions? For example, carbonate, sulfate, chloride, nitrate, acetate, phosphate, oxalate. All these are examples of acidic radical because they would have come from acids. So how are we going to test the presence of these radicals? Sulfate. Any salt which contains sulfate as its anionic radical must answer sulfate test. Any salt which has acetate as its acidic radical has to answer whether the acetate is going to be in the form of lead acetate or ammonium acetate or magnesium acetate or calcium acetate. Acetate test is common. So how are we going to perform the test? So the first test what you are going to see will be test for carbonate. Before entering into test for carbonates, ensure that to view the color of the salts. Some of the salts are colored, some of the salts are colorless. So this is your carbonate salt. Any carbonate salt, if you don't know what is the anionic radical present in the salt, what is the test that you are going to do? So I am just taking the salt, a pinch of salt is taken in a dry test tube. I am just taking a pinch of salt in a dry test tube, right? And I am adding distilled water. I am dissolving the salt, right? I am just dissolving the salt. So what are we getting? We are getting a original salt solution, true solution. So the particles are invisible to the naked eye. Now I am going to show the presence of carbonate. What is the test? Any carbonate salts must answer this test. I am just taking a bit of salt solution and I am going to do the test for carbonate. I am taking dilute sulfuric acid. When I take dilute sulfuric acid, let us see what is the observation. When I see the observation, can you see there the brisk effervescence which comes? That brisk effervescence indicates the presence of carbonate radical. What is that brisk effervescence? The brisk effervescence is nothing but carbon dioxide gas. So when you take any carbonate salt and you add dilute H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, you will be observing brisk effervescence. The brisk effervescence is nothing but carbon dioxide. From which radical the carbon dioxide will come? It definitely has to come from carbonate. So this shows the presence of carbonate. You can just close this test tube and let the gas inside the test tube and pass this gas into lime water. What happens to the lime water? It turns milky. So that is the confirmatory test for the presence of carbonate, right? One more test I have for carbonate. When you take the carbonate salt solution and when you add magnesium sulfate, solution, let us see what is the color it gives. I am adding magnesium sulfate Can you see there the color? You are getting a white precipitate. When you get a white precipitate, it confirms the presence of carbonate. Right? There are two tests that we have done. The first test is salt solution adding H2SO4. Gas coming out was carbon dioxide. The second test, to the salt solution, I added magnesium sulfate solution and I got a white PPT. So these two tests are the test that confirms the presence of carbonate radical in the salt, right? So we have done with the carbonate test. Next one, we are going to do sulfate radical. So carbonate is done. Next I am going to do with sulfate radical. So I am taking sulfate salt. Sulfate is also a white color salt. Sometimes you may get a color salt also, but I am just showing today with white salt. I am just adding distilled water. Can you see that? I am just completely dissolving the salt in water, distilled water. As usual, I should get a original salt solution, a clear salt solution. So I have two tests for presence of sulfate. I am just taking in two test tubes because I have to perform two tests for sulfate. So first one I am doing test number 1 for sulfate. So I am adding barium chloride solution. What is the solution I am adding? Barium chloride. Let me see what is the color PPT I will get. I am adding barium chloride solution. What is the color PPT? Can you see there the PPT color? I got a thick white PPT. Right? So when I get a thick white PPT, it shows the presence of sulfate radical in the given unknown salt. Right? So this is test number 1 over. The next one is test number 2 for sulfate. So what is test number 2 for sulfate? I am taking the sulfate salt solution and I am adding acetic acid, few drops. There is no change. It's just look like the salt solution only. After adding acetic acid, I am adding lead acetate solution. When I add lead acetate solution, again you can get a thick white PPT. Right? So both the tests of sulfate shows white PPT. Test number 1 with barium chloride, it showed a white PPT. And the second test is with acetic acid and lead acetate, also it showed a white PPT. So this confirms the presence of sulfate. So far how many anionic radical got over? 2 anions. What are they? The first one was carbonate, the second one was sulfate. Now the third one that we are going to do is acetate. Acetate, which should have come from which acid? Acetic acid or ethanoic acid. So I am just taking acetic acid which has been converted into the corresponding salt acetate and I am adding few drops of water. Ensure that the particles completely gets dissolved in water. It should be a original salt solution. If the particles are not dissolving, then it will give a wrong result. It is not clear for us to observe the color change. So this is my salt solution. So there are two tests for acetate. Maximum you have 2, at the most 3, right? So for acetate, how many tests are there? 2 tests are there. So let me divide the salt solution into 2 test tubes, right? So now I am going with test number 1, right? Test number 1, the first test tube, I have taken the original salt solution of acetate, any acetate, lead acetate, calcium acetate, ammonium acetate, magnesium acetate, any acetate radical will answer this test. So the first test I am adding neutral ferric chloride. Neutral ferric chloride FeCl3 solution. I will be getting an orange brown or reddish orange color. You can see the tinge of orange color which is appearing on the top part of the test tube. So this confirms the presence of acetate radical in the unknown salt. Right? So acetate test, I have taken the original salt solution and I have added neutral ferric chloride solution. and I got a reddish brown PPT. It does not look like a PPT, but we can take this as a PPT because it depends upon the purity of the salt and the reagent what we are adding. So this talks about the presence of acetate radical in the salt. And there is one small test which is called a preliminary test. It is a guess test only. The guess test says when you take the salt and rub against your fingers, the thumb and the index finger, and just smell. When you smell, you get a vinegar smell. So when you get a vinegar smell, it's just a guesswork only. So you can do for any salt, rub against your fingers. This does not work for all the salt. All the salt gives some pungent odor, but acetate specifically gives a vinegar-like smell. So when a vinegar-like smell comes, then you can come to a inference that it may contain acetate radical, right? It may only, I am not confirming. This is just a preliminary test. It is not a confirmatory test. So one more test is there for acetate. What is that test? I am just taking the salt solution. The second salt solution I am taking. I am taking the salt solution and I am adding any alcohol into it. What am I adding? I am adding alcohol. What is the alcohol that I kept here is benzyl alcohol. I am just taking the acetate salt solution and I am adding alcohol. Yes, I am adding some alcohol. This is the second test for acetate and I am adding dilute sulfuric acid, few drops, and I have to heat this in the water bath. I have to heat this in the water bath. Once again I repeat for acetate. This is the second test for acetate. I have taken the salt solution. I have added benzyl alcohol. Benzyl alcohol, it is an aromatic alcohol. And I have added few drops of dilute H2SO4. And since I have added here alcohol, alcohols are inflammable. It is advisable to heat using water bath. It is not advisable to heat it directly. So let me heat this for 2 to 3 minutes and find out what is my observation. I am just keeping this aside. So Swarnama will be heating this and she will be showing the result after 2 to 3 minutes. Right? So with this we are winding up the 3 anionic radicals. What are they? Carbonate, sulfate and acetate. Right? So this result I will tell you in the next video. Okay? So as of now we are completed with carbonate, sulfate and acetate. Okay? And we have to still view this observation what we are going to keep it in the water bath. Okay? Thank you. Meet you again. Good afternoon students. We are back again to the lab. So the last class we saw the test for carbonate, sulfate and acetate. So the leftover acidic radical will be chloride and nitrate. Okay. So nitrate I am just doing it now. I have just taken the nitrate salt and I am using test tube holder. So what does this show? This shows I am just taking the salt itself in a dry test tube and I am heating it over the Bunsen burner. Can you see there the observation? It's getting heated up. Some physical changes will happen. Initially the salt will melt. I can hear the crackling sound slightly. Actually, when you do it in the lab on your own, you can listen to the crackling sound and slowly the vapors comes out. I am just keeping myself calm for Are you able to hear? So this is the crackling sound that you should get it. None of the salt produces this crackling sound except nitrate. Are you able to hear the crackling sound? Yes. It crackles, it crackles, it crackles. So it is getting decomposed. The nitrate salt is getting decomposed. Let us see what happens. So it is getting crackled and the salt is undergoing chemical change. It's crackled, it's crackled, it's crackled. It will take some time because we know it requires energy for the bonds to be broken. So it is not that easy for us to break the bond. Can you see there in the inner parts of the test tube? Initially there were few water vapors which comes out of the test tube, and after some time you can see here some brown color tinge has been appeared on the inner parts of the test tube. That brown fumes will get intensified when you heat more. I don't want to heat for a longer time. So that brown fumes indicates the presence of nitrate which has come out in the form of NO2 gas. What does that mean? Nitrogen 4 oxide or nitrogen dioxide gas. It has come out as nitrogen dioxide gas. NO2 is the chemical formula. So it has come out, right? So the salt has got a crackling sound when you are heating the salt in a dry test tube, and then oxygen comes out in the form of colorless vapors initially. After then the test tube has turned slight brown. So here, as a matter of continuation of this test, I am just taking the salt a bit more in the test tube, in the same test tube, and I am adding copper chips. So copper turnings, I am just adding 1 or 2 copper turnings, and I am adding concentrated sulfuric acid. Can you see there the brown color which was seen less has become intensified, right? So you can see the color of the gas also, it's a brown color gas. When they heat this, even more the gas gets intensified, and you can see the brown, yellow color or brown color gas which comes out of the test tube. This confirms the presence of nitrate salt. So when I added copper chips, I added concentrated H2SO4, brown fumes was huge, and when I heated, the fumes were intensified. So this fumes is nothing but more amount of NO2 has come out. So this shows the presence of nitrate in the salt. So this is test number 1 for nitrate. The next one is test number 2. This is one of the most recommended tests of all. So before we go with this test number 2 for nitrate, I am just taking ferrous sulfate solution. Ferrous sulfate salt I am just taking, green color salt which is called as green vitriol, right? I am just taking few salt particles of ferrous sulfate and I am preparing ferrous sulfate salt solution. Right? This I have to pre-prepare and keep it for performing this test. So as I told you, we have pre-prepared the FeSO4 solution and I have added FeSO4 solution into the nitrate salt solution, and I should add concentrated sulfuric acid along the sides of the test tube. Okay. So I have already added. I am just adding 1 or 2 drops for you to observe what is the change happening. So this is one of the best test recommended for confirming the presence of nitrate, and I am just taking the extra FeSO4 what I have prepared and I am just adding 1 or 2 drops on the top of the test tube. Can you see there the brown ring? This is called the brown ring test. Why this test is recommended actually speaking? This test does not require any heating. We are not wasting any fuel. So when I add 1 or 2 drops of FeSO4, ensure that you do not shake the test tube. If you are not shaking the test tube, you will be getting the brown ring. Can you see there the brown ring? This is a complex of iron, complex salt of iron. So this brown ring confirms the presence of nitrate salt. So with this we come to an end for the test for nitrate. We have done two tests. The first test was the preliminary test, which we did the dry heating test of the salt, and then followed by the copper chips test added with concentrated H2SO4. The NO2 fumes was intensifying, and the last test is called as the brown ring test. If the test disappears after some time also, you can just add the extra FeSO4 drops to show the presence of brown ring. Okay, so this confirms the presence of nitrate. The last anion for the day will be chloride, right? Almost all the anions I have showed you with colorless salts. I have not shown you any colored salt. This is also a colorless salt. So I am going to do with chloride. So this is your chloride salt. I don't know which chloride they have kept it, but any chloride salt, whether it is sodium chloride, potassium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, any chloride salt has to answer this chloride anion. Am I right? So I am just dissolving the salt and I am preparing a salt solution. So in this I am adding silver nitrate solution. The formula is AgNO3. What is it? AgNO3. I am adding silver nitrate solution. Can you see that? A precipitate. This is observed as curdy white precipitate of silver chloride. So any chloride salt treated with silver nitrate solution will give you curdy white precipitate of silver chloride. But all the halogens, chloride, bromide, iodide, everything answers this silver nitrate test. And how do you confirm whether it is coming out as silver chloride or silver bromide or silver iodide? So it definitely makes us confused. So to clear the confusion, when I add dilute hydrochloric acid, the precipitate dissolves. So as a matter of continuation, what were we doing? We were doing the silver nitrate test for chloride. Am I right? So when you took the chloride salt solution and when you added silver nitrate solution, you got a curdy white PPT. Am I right? So the curdy white PPT gets dissolved in dilute hydrochloric acid. That was test number 1 for chloride. The last and final test will be chromide chloride test. This is very, very important. It requires heating and we are supposed to take only the salt, not the salt solution. So to the salt in the test tube, I am just adding an orange color crystal. Have you come across or seen any time this orange color crystal? This is nothing but potassium dichromate. The formula is K2Cr2O7. And here in this salt and K2Cr2O7 mixture, I am adding concentrated sulfuric acid. When I add concentrated sulfuric acid, can you see there the vapors which comes out of the test tube? You can see the brisk effervescence. The reddish orange oily vapors comes out of the test tube, right? So I am heating this and I am passing this vapors into a test tube containing sodium hydroxide. I have already taken sodium hydroxide in the test tube and I am passing the oily vapors. The name of this vapor is nothing but chromite chloride. Don't heat too much, the vapors are toxic. So I am just converting the sodium hydroxide solution to yellow color by passing the chromite chloride vapors, right? So getting chromite chloride vapor is step number 1. Passing the chromite chloride vapors to NaOH solution and getting yellow solution is step number 2. And the last step of this test is I am adding acetic acid and lead acetate into this test tube. Can you see that? A bright yellow PPT I get. So this confirms the presence of chloride radical in the salt. Once again I repeat, chromite chloride test. I take the chloride salt, add K2Cr2O7 orange crystals, followed by adding concentrated H2SO4, I get reddish oily vapors. When I heat, the vapors gets intensified I have passed the vapors to NaOH and the solution has turned yellow. To this yellow solution, I have added acetic acid and lead acetate. I have got yellow PPT that confirms the presence of chloride radical in the salt. With this, we are winding up all the anionic radicals. Totally, how many anionic radicals we have seen? 5 anionic radicals. What are they? Carbonate, sulfate, acetate, nitrate and chloride. Right? So, all the 5 anionic radicals have come to an end. Now, we are going to move to test the quality of the cationic radical. Hope you have understood this. Thank you so much.